Hi everyone, and welcome to my review on the latest 1/6 scale Michael Myers figure in the collection. It's that one there. It's based on the dream sequence in the hospital from Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie. Michael Myers played by Tyler Mane, a very big guy. And I've got an incredible figure to review for you, and the head sculpt was done by One's Customs. The coveralls, the knife, and all together, the putting together of this piece was all handled by David Tucker at CeeCREATIONS, and he does some amazing work. And during this review, I'm going to put in a little section where I'm going to try and fill you in, even though I'm quite new to David Tucker's work as well. He actually did the coveralls for my Boo-Face Myers, as well as some other bits and pieces. I think he might have done some of the blood work. I get mixed up. There was also Brett Little was involved in the weathering of the coveralls as well, but I know David Tucker at CeeCREATIONS took care of those coveralls, and he made these too, and weathered them, bloodied them up for me, and just done the knife. It was so helpful in making this happen, because in the past I found it very almost impossible to try and get hold of a One's Customs figure through the official channels. It's just, I don't know, a lot of messing about, and it was just nice to find someone who could say, you want a One's Customs figure, this is how much it is, you know, if you want to do it, let's do it. And it was done within a matter of, it was literally just, it was all taken care of in like a couple of minutes, talking over Facebook with David Tucker, and it was just a matter then of David getting the One's Custom head sculpt in his hands, putting it on the body and the coveralls that he put together for me, and he sent me the complete figure, and it was a done deal. Really stress-free, great guy. So massive shout out to David Tucker and One's Customs for his amazing work that he does on these head sculpts. But if it wasn't for David Tucker and his help, I probably still wouldn't have anything like that. The original Michael Myers Halloween 2 hospital scene Myers is here. That's about 8 years old apparently, and I think that's completely head to toe One's Customs. He did all of that, whereas this one here, as I say, just the head sculpt by One Customs, and everything else was taken care of by David Tucker. And over here we've got the Boo-Face Myers, which there's a review for that on the channel. Head sculpt by One's Customs, coveralls made by David Tucker, weathering done by Brett Little, and just some fantastic work again there. Over here we have the Yunsil coveralls for the original 78 Myers, which I'm just waiting for a head sculpt from Silent Surfer, and that'll be complete. And I can't wait to review that one and get that one in the bag and done, as far as get that figure in my collection complete. It stressed me out. I just want it to be over, but it's been a long wait. I'll get to that when I review it. And here we have the big 1/4 scale original, well, not the original, but the first Rob Zombie Michael Myers Halloween film. And that is a fantastic piece. The sculpt of the mask is absolutely insane, really accurate. Didn't like the plastic hair he came with, so I removed that and did the hair myself, using hair from a werewolf mask. It worked out great, and it looks like just like the film. There's videos on that on the channel as well. And then recently I picked up this about 14-year-old NECA 1/4 scale original Myers from 1978 classic film. So you can obviously see here, this side of the screen very much paying homage to the original 78 Myers, and this side here very much paying homage to the Rob Zombie films, which I also do really like. Even part 2, which you know, my first viewing of Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie, I didn't like it, although, you know, I think everyone can agree that the first 10-15 minutes in that hospital scene is damn good. But yeah, after my second time, third time of seeing Halloween 2, I have grown to like it now. So I like seeing Michael Myers walking around the earth, you know, when it's not October. What was he doing? And he's just basically roaming the earth, just being a hobo Myers. So that's another thing I want to get covered, thanks to David Tucker in the future. I think the next Myers I'm going to go for, although I am tempted to go for basically the first one, but in 1/6 scale form, obviously head sculpt by One's Customs, coveralls and all that by David Tucker again. I'd like to get the first Rob Zombie Myers, the clean version, I guess we can call it. I'd also really love to see, and I never have seen this, a custom figure of Michael Myers when he's a kid in the Rob Zombie film, like when he's wearing that, basically when he puts on the Michael Myers mask for the first time, and it's all clean, there's no rotting of the mask, it's all completely brand new, and he kills his sister down the corridor. That, I'd love to see that version of Michael Myers, you know, in 1/6 scale. I think it would be really impressive, and I just don't think it's ever happened before. unless someone out there has one. So let's see. Instead of piling everything into one video, because I know even though YouTube recommends you make your videos long, I know viewers, people like yourselves who watch these, don't really like to sit and watch an hour-long review on a figure. So if I was to do the comparison between these two in this video and do like a full collection Myers thing and include photography, and you know, if I was to go really in depth and cover everything in this one video, I think it would be overly long. So I guess it would be better to do this review and just focus on reviewing the new Myers, tell you all about it and the weathering I've done to it since I got it as well, and the little mods I've done. There's a lot to fill you in on, so I'll do all that in this review, and then as a separate little video coming up afterwards, I'll just compare these two thoroughly to each other so you get a really good idea of differences, and maybe just as you're seeing it here, do a full collection of the Michael Myers set up here and just take the camera off the tripod, get in amongst it and go handheld and show you close up everything that's here. So yeah, we'll get stuck in now, and I hope you enjoy it. Massive shout out again to David Tucker, can't thank him enough, and respect to One's Customs for busting out some of the most sick Michael Myers and other classic horror figure head sculpts that we've ever seen and probably ever will see. The man's going to keep doing what he does, so people are only going to get better at their craft as they keep doing it, so only one can imagine what the future holds for One Customs and CeeCREATIONS. So, and don't forget, I'll give you a nice little segment in this review where I try to educate you and show you some of David Tucker's previous works and future projects. I've got quite a few pictures of stuff that he's worked on in the past, and it's all quite impressive, so we'll get stuck into that too. Anyway, let's go deep. Enjoy. Alright guys, now I've done a fair few little tweaks here and there, and I'm going to do a little bit of weathering now with the same way I did with the Sideshow Collectibles Jason Voorhees. I'm going to use actual real mud, which may or may not be super permanent on the figure, but I think once the mud, because it's a rainy day, it's kind of damp out here, I'll get me some mud and just brush it into his clothes in certain places. See how it turns out. It worked great with Jason because it was quite subtle, but you could tell when you looked at it that he really, you know, he'd been somewhere, he'd been traipsing through the forest. And Michael Myers here, that's one of the things I said to David Tucker. He was keeping me posted, like I said in a previous video, on everything that he was doing. How much blood do I want here, what kind of colour, you know, how thick do you want the blood to be there, and all this stuff. And I said to him, once he got to this point here, I said, just leave it how you got it now, because I want to do a little bit of weathering myself, because I do enjoy doing a bit of weathering. I need to add a bit of paint to this to make this a bit less light in colour. I did fray the ends of his coveralls here a little bit to make them look a bit, you know, a bit older. And what else did I do? Sort of turned the collar over on itself and glued it just underneath these sections here. Back, so you got it turned up at the back and glued down at the front. Just stops it from, you know, the collar from sticking out flat and makes it look bigger than it should be, whereas now it looks like an accurate kind of size to how it is in the film. I gave him a bit of a haircut because when you stuck his hair, you know, straight up in the air like this, like he'd been electrocuted, it was coming out to about here. So I trimmed off quite a bit just in order to get that movie accurate length. I checked about, must have been 50 different images from Halloween 2 to get the right hair length, and I'm pretty happy with how that looks now. So yeah, the next step now is to get my hot water and wet me brush, take it over to some mud, and yeah man, the real deal. That's how I do it. That's how I do my weathering. Now I'm not going to do this really on the film so much because I need both hands. I need to be able to hold the figure and paint him with mud. But like I say, it's going to be very subtle. It's not going to be very intense. This is how I do it. And then I take a tissue and I wipe away the excess, and it just leaves behind the kind of embedded into the material mud. So yeah, I'll show you the end results once I'm finished. Alright, so going handheld, we'll start with this guy on the rotating base, and I'll just talk you through some of the bits and pieces. You've still got a little bit of mud flakes from where I did some weathering outside, and just sort of frayed the ends of his coveralls there where it leans onto the boot. You can see there some fraying and some mud, quite a lot of mud actually, just in various places around the coveralls. Now you can see the blood work I did on that knife. I'll wait for that to come around again, or I'll show you that again better once it's not rotating anymore. But just so you can see all around this guy. I love the way the hair's done. I did give him a little haircut. So how I did that was basically just combed it all up in the air like he'd been electrocuted, and just to see how long it actually was, and it was a little bit overly long, so it just needed a little bit of a trim and put it all back into place. Now the hair looks good. Proportions are really well done. David Tucker used a great body. Now, I was talking about this with my buddy Nick just yesterday about how, you know, Tyler Maine's like 6'8" or something like that, and I don't know, I mean, it's going to be hard to find, you know, a body on 1/6 scale that's going to sort of replicate that perfectly. But he is still taller than most. I mean, he's taller than the boot-face Myers there. And Jesus, I shouldn't have pointed the camera at this guy. Look at that. How perfect looking is that? Absolutely insane. Look at that thing. It's my favorite 1/6 scale figure. And maybe this will be number 2. So I don't know, I might have to do a top 10 figures in the collection video again. I've done 2 of those in the past, but now a lot of new things have come along. I mean, since the last top 10, we got Freddy, Jason, we got more Vampire action up there, that Myers, this Myers, that original old Myers back there, and yeah, Wonder Woman's come along since then, the battle damaged armored Batman up there, the second Harley Quinn, and look at Deadpool in his Freddy hat. He looks Australian. Good eye, mate. Look at that. Yeah, my 2 Catwomen. Anyway, I'll have to do another top 10 figures in the collection video pretty damn soon. So, look at the gore on the mask. Let me just stop him rotating. Just wanted to give you a little turn fest. You soak it up. But David Tucker did all the blood. And really cool technique he uses there where it always looks wet. You can see there as it turns around, it's like wet blood just soaking into his coveralls. Alright, now I added the blood to the knife. It's looking brighter than it actually appears in real life because I'm using the bright LED light on the camera, as you can see. But it turned out pretty good. I got this nice kind of dripping effect by just kind of getting the paintbrush and just blobbing the red paint on there and letting it kind of just dry, and then adding another little blob, and got that cool little effect there. Let me just turn this around. But yeah, that knife is seriously gory. I didn't go too over the top with it. I was just trying to copy the same kind of blood effect that was on the knife in the hospital scene just before he takes out that nurse. And now that the torch is on the camera, I'll just show you the eyes inside the mask. Really well done. Kind of like a light blue. Looks way more creepy without the torch on the camera. But yeah, it definitely looks better without the torch from the camera shining on the blood. That's definitely a more true representation of the colour. Look at that, wow. That is a pretty cool effect. Really looks like just a very fresh kill has just happened. But yeah, he's basically covered in David Tucker's custom blood, and I've gone in with a whole lot of mud from the outdoors and pretty much just paintbrush that mud onto his coveralls and let it soak in. Mix the mud with some warm water and just basically paint the mud onto him. You can see it there. It's all embedded into his coveralls. Because you have to remember, he's been through the entire first movie at this point. And yeah, he's been through the ringer. incredible work. Just get a look at the blood and the gore on the side of the mask here. Now, I did have the option, once David Tucker received this head sculpt, he also received another one which I believe was for someone else, and that other one had the beard showing underneath the mask and a little bit of his beard coming through that big rip in his mask there on his cheek. And I had the option, do you want the one with the hair showing through the mask, or do you just want this regular one where you can't see it? And I went with this one just because there's only a brief moment in that hospital scene when he's walking in the rain towards the little hut where she's hiding and that poor security guard's trying to help her out. As he's walking towards it in the rain, you do get a shot from the side and you can see the beard kind of coming underneath the mask. But other than that, in particular the scene when he takes out the nurse, which is the iconic moment from the movie that I really wanted to replicate in the figure, you don't really see it, so I chose this version. But yep, really gory. But just look at that. Really great kind of hair that's been used here. I don't know what kind of hair that is, but it's pretty much perfect. Let's check it. It's always kind of good from this angle. You can see his eye as well, just shining through there. Looks amazing. In the hospital scene, I did notice when he's done his deeds with that poor unfortunate nurse, you do see him standing over her from the back, and there was definitely more going on here on his back. Like I'd need to add the bullet holes from where he was shot by Loomis at the end of the first movie, and there was a lot more kind of just staining and dirt and grime. So but that's at the back of him, which you're really not going to see when he's on display here, but I will probably get to that at some point in the future. But the main thing is that from the front and from askew, he looks good, and he does. So yeah, that's pretty much all the little modifications I did. This base actually came with the much older One's Customs Myers, so because this one is definitely the more complete, impressive piece, more up to date, I gave him the cool Halloween 2 base just to complete the deal, get him looking 100%. Look at that. Yeah. Alright, we'll just take some time out now to learn a little bit about CeeCREATIONS and David Tucker. The man is 39 years old. He's been doing custom work now for about 15 to 16 years. He's married with 4 kids, works full-time, and does a few hours of custom work every day. So balancing, you know, your family life, your full-time job, and doing all this custom work. Commissions must be coming in like crazy. Since he started working with One's Customs, apparently things have really taken off over the last few years. Lots of big projects in the pipeline, things he's excited about announcing and letting people know about in the coming months, I guess. And as you can see from all these pictures coming up, I mean, the man does fine work. I mean, these coveralls, you got 1/4 scale and 1/6 scale there. They look fantastic. The thought of having a 1/4 scale custom Myers, that's starting to get me quite curious. Look at that bottom right hand picture there with the head sculpt. Hobo Myers, need one of those. There's a life-size one, I think. Life-size coveralls. But One's Customs was a huge inspiration to David Tucker, and he's known him for a long time, and apparently One approached him about working together on a few projects, and it's just been going strong ever since. And it's actually Mum who got David Tucker into what he's doing. David Tucker's mum was a professional kind of sculptor, and she made displays, and she taught him how to sculpt, and more recently taught him how to do the sewing kind of side of things. So he says he owes it all to his mum. I can relate to that, man. I was raised by my mum, and I owe a lot to her, especially when it comes to my musical stuff. She was always behind me 100%, and it's always good when you got, you know, your parents or your parent, you know, behind you and whatever you are passionate about doing in life. It really is a big help. But looking at his work here, all this various Jason versions, I mean, look at this. All the, just the weathering on those clothes. Absolutely sick. And he likes to keep his work at a decent price, and I can vouch for that. I've only done the one dealings with David Tucker so far, but I am super happy with how it all went. Great communication, really good guy to work with. And I would definitely recommend you guys find him on Facebook, David Tucker. And yeah, look at that. Damn. Anyway, can't recommend him enough. A fine fellow. Oh, that's my figure right there. That's before it was sent to me. That's the picture I had that was driving me crazy. The articulation on the body that's been used here is pretty damn good. It's a very hefty, quite a weighty body that's been used. It's very solid, quite muscular feeling. And because of the fact that the original coverall's colour is not as dark as it needed to be, I'm pretty sure David Tucker had to paint the whole of the coveralls, the entirety, in a different shade of kind of like a darker brown. And then obviously the blood work's gone on top of that. I've gone in with the paintbrush and the real mud to add the weathering. So all of those elements combined have kind of stiffened up the coveralls slightly. But I was used to that because that's the exact same thing that happened with this original 8-year-old once custom Myers over there. The more weathering you do to these coveralls, the more they kind of stiffen up. So I wanted to get his arm up really extreme, kind of like that, replicate that picture. But at the moment, that's about the most I can get out of it. But that's fine. It's not a problem. It looks absolutely sick. But I would always just have him just standing there. Pretty simple museum pose, to be honest with this one. It's all about capturing just the behemoth, kind of massive Tyler Mane, Michael Myers just standing there all intimidating. Yeah, there's a little pose for you. Looking pretty sweet. Yeah, I'll just check it out from this angle. It's pretty cool. Holding the knife in a different position, but I realise now because of the blood work I did, that kind of dripping blood effect, it doesn't really work in this position, so you'd have to have it the right way up for that to work, but that's just my thing. That's how I do. Yeah, it looks sick. Can't tell you how long I've wanted one of these. Years and years, just been watching other people's videos on YouTube, wondering if it would ever happen. And gotta say, another massive shout out to David Tucker, Mr. DT. He made it happen, man. So super, super grateful for all his help. Can't say I'm too clued up as to what the exact kind of boots Michael Myers is wearing in the Rob Zombie movie, but I'm assuming between One and David Tucker, they know their stuff in that regard, so this is what we've gone with. And yeah, they look suitably grimy. Yeah, so that's the boots. The hands are perfect and really weathered up, quite nasty. The hands have done dirty deeds, there's no doubt about it. You can tell just by looking at him. He's been manhandling fools, snatching up all kinds of ass. I'm just going to film him with this red light because it looks pretty damn freaky with this guy. It just looks nasty as hell. And there was some moments where he's walking through the kind of the guts of the hospital, you know, the bowels. And there was kind of red lighting in certain places. So it just looks right out of the film. He looks like he stepped out of the movie and he's coming to get you. So I'm digging that. And the red lighting just makes it all the more evil. So I'm going to bring you a comparison video very soon. That'll probably be coming up next, between the latest version and the old version, which I still love. And it's not as clear cut as you'd think about which one's my favorite, because there are elements to both. There's things I prefer about different ones, so I will definitely keep you informed. With that, let me just go ahead and change the light color. Let's see, we got kind of a purpley pink, we've got blue, we got green, which is making the screen go funky. Oh no, there you go, that looks pretty sick in green actually. Look at that. Yeah, God, it's good. There he is in the background, and here he is in the foreground. The blood's just wet looking and nasty. It's so good, so good. The hair, coveralls. God damn. So like, as far as that Untitled coveralls over here, the whole debate I was having with myself about the accurate color, let's just see how it reacts to different color light. Let's see if it changes and looks dark blue at any point. Well, yeah, whatever. I still love them. And yeah, I'm gonna grab a couple of backup pairs from different people. Get some from David Tucker, and someone who I'm just talking to on Facebook now, who I'll fill you in on once I get some of her work. Really, really cool people out there doing some great custom stuff when it comes to Michael Myers. So, can't say enough good things about this. I don't want to drag on the video too long, but yep, do not regret a thing. It was around, well, I don't usually tell you how much I pay for these things, but for those of you who are wondering, like I was in the past, I mean, I was hearing all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, I guess, years ago, maybe prices were, varying. I mean, I heard once that to get a Once Customs complete Myers figure from head to toe, someone once told me like $1,000, which was way out of my league, and I couldn't really justify that kind of money to myself. But David Tucker, he came at me with a price $400 for everything, complete custom unique piece from head to toe, custom awesomeness, £400, straight up. Do you want to do it? I said hell yeah. It's friggin' awesome. And a couple years time, I could sell that 400, make my money back. But I ain't gonna do that. I'm never selling this. Never. Just like I would never sell this. Hell no. Two of my favorite 1/6 scale figures in the collection. So, get in touch with DT on Facebook. Tell him Dean sent you. See if you can make it happen. Pretty sure that guy can make it happen for you. And he was great at communication. He always kept me up to date on how the weathering was going for the coveralls, how they were looking day by day, asking me if I wanted this, do I want this, do I want that. So I really, really felt well informed and very confident that I was going to be getting exactly what I wanted. Communication was fantastic. So yeah, let's hope we see a lot more of CeeCREATIONS work in the future. Alright, keep an eye out for the comparison between these two. Keep an eye out for the full Myers collection experience. That'll be bringing you real soon. Thanks again to Once Customs, David Tucker. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.